true a diameter is a chord of a circle, because a diameter ends, like its endpoints are on the circle, it just doesn't, it goes right through the center instead of being anywhere else on the circle. Okay, and again, just to remind you of what we said yesterday, remember for your test, I basically took all of the pictures that are on your test right off of this, okay? So like this picture is going to show up on your test. I might have different values here, but it'll be the exact same picture. So if you're really putting some good work into this packet, you should really be fine for the test. Okay, in number 2, what do I know about these two lines?
They're equal.
They're equal to each other, right? They're congruent. When you have two tangents that start from the same point, they're equal. So what I'm going to have to do to find x is set these two things equal to each other. I'm going to have to say 4x minus 2 is equal to 3x plus 3. Okay. Somebody help me solve. Jared, what do you want to do first? Okay, minus 3x. Minus 3x. So we end up with x minus 2 equals 3. And then what? Alex, what do you want to do now? Add 2. Yep, that's a minus 2, so I'm going to add 2 and add 2. And I end up with x equals 5. Okay. Is that what the question asks?
Mm-hmm.
Does the question say, what does x equal?
No.
No. What's the question ask?
Find LM.
Okay, so Luke, what am I going to do?
You're going to plug in, plug the x in and take the x to 5.
Okay, so here's LM. LM is 3x plus 3. I'm going to put that x value in. So I'm going to say 3 times 5 plus 3, and that comes out to be 18. And that would be your final answer there. Okay. All right, number 3. They're in the black drawers. I don't remember which.
So if anybody wants to highlight, as Mrs. right now is showing you,
Yeah?
I don't know if that would help. That
Yeah,
would help
be a
me
good
to
idea.
see the angle.
Mm-hmm. Almost. You have to, the wording on the question is a little bit strange on that one. Yep, if you want a highlighter, go ahead and take it. Thank you, Mrs. Barr, for thinking of that. Okay, Ben just said he thinks the answer to number 3 is 35. He is almost right. He just has to pay attention to the wording of the question. Okay? It says find the measure of the major arc if a central angle is 35. So what that is saying is I have 35 degrees here in the middle.
And then you
Okay.
go all the way.
I want the major arc. So what Ben said, the 35, that would be this arc, but that's the minor arc. So I want the rest of the way around. Okay, what would I do to get that? There you go, 360 minus 35. Yep, thank you. Good. Okay, so you just had to be careful that that was asking for the major arc, which is basically everything except that 35-degree angle. Okay, we want to find the length of DB in number 4. Oh, and they were nice enough to even draw in that radius for you. Okay, this is one that's sort of similar to what we just did, that last warm-up problem that we did. Luke, you can just set them off the set, wherever. Yep. What do I do here? I want to find this whole length. Okay, so I add 2 and 3 because that's the what of the circle. That's the radius of the circle, which means that this dotted line here must also be 5. Okay, because this is 5, so this would be 5. Yep. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right, now how am I going to set this up now that I have that 5 there? Okay. So we're really calling this our x. So we're saying 3 squared plus x squared equals 5 squared. 5 is our hypotenuse. 3 squared is 9. 5 squared is 25. What do I do with it from there to solve it? Yep, let's minus 9. And I get x squared equals 16. So square root that. X equals 4. Okay, Anarina, why am I timesing by 2? Oh, yep, that's right. So what I just found, that 4 is just this piece, okay? The question is asking me for this entire length, but I know that those two pieces are equal to each other. So if one is 4, the other one is 4. And so 4 times 2 is equal to 8. Good. Let's do a good job with those. Guess we don't need to be zoomed in quite that much. There we go. Let's head over to number 7. Oh, number 7 is pretty straightforward. Find angle MNO. MNO. Jacob, what kind of angle is MNO? Inscribed or central are your choices. It's inscribed, yep, because it goes all the way across the circle. Ben, I heard you just say it. What do we have to do to get an inscribed angle? Okay, so with an inscribed angle, you take the arc and divide by 2. So 120 divided by 2 would be 60. What would have happened if I would have given you the angle and asked you to get the arc? Times 2, yep. Well, if you multiplied by 2 and then divided by 2, that would take you just back to the same number. So it depends on what the question's asking. If the question is asking you for the arc, you would multiply by 2. If it's asking for the angle, you would divide by 2. Okay, number 8, find the value of x. Somebody tell me something you know about that angle. Has to be 90. Do you know why it has to be 90? Okay, this angle is inscribed in this arc. How big is this arc right here? 180, because it's half the circle, right? And when you do an inscribed angle, what do you do to the arc? Divide by 2, right? So if this is 180, when I divide by 2 to get the angle, that would come out to be 90. So I know that this 4x plus 10 is equal to 90. Okay? Let's solve that. What would I do? Minus 10. Good. So 4x equals 80. Divide by 4. X equals 20. Oh, and yep. Is that what the question asked?
Yep.
This time the question did just ask what is x. So there you go. X equals 20. Good work. You guys did a nice job with these. A little worried during that warm-up. Okay, all the way on to 15, 16, and then another 16. Okay, I'm going to write the formula for this circle off to the side here. X minus h squared plus y minus k. Let me ask you this. On your test tomorrow, I am going to be giving you this formula. What would be the easiest way for me to give you that formula? Like, do you want it printed on the front of your test? Do you want it printed, like, on each page? Do you want it printed on the board? What's going to be the most helpful to you?
On the board would be,
Yeah.
that way you don't have to flip back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was kind of wondering about. So on the board, if I just wrote it on the board, that'd be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And I want to know the center. Which two numbers do I look at to find the center? Okay, so my center is going to be 3, 5. Ryan, what do you think I'm going to do to get the radius? Where's the radius going to come from? Which number?
5.
Okay. is 5?
Yeah.
Okay. The radius comes from this. Okay? This 25,
Then you multiply by 2.
not multiply by 2. 25 is equal to r squared. So what do you do to something to get rid of a square?
Divide.
Nope. What's the opposite of squaring? Anarina? Square root. Okay? So we would take the square root of 25, and we would find that my radius is 5. That's why I got excited at first when we said 5. But, so this number in the equation is always equal to r squared. And so what you want is just r. So you need to like back it up. You need to say, okay, I don't want r squared. I want to get back to just regular r. And so to get rid of a square, you take a square root. Okay, I'm going to go down to the 16 on the bottom first, and then we'll go back to the 16 on the top. This says graph this circle. So I'm actually going to start just like we did that last problem. I'm going to find the center first and the radius. Tyler, where would the center of this circle be for this here? Good. Why on earth did Tyler stick a -1 in front of that, or a negative sign in front of that 1? Okay, remember this equation is like opposite day. Okay? The equation has a minus in it, but if this is a plus, it must have been a negative when you put it in there. And then the two negatives would make a positive. Okay? So when you see a +1, that's really a -1. When you see a -2, that's really a +2. Okay, I know that's confusing. You've got kind of just got to remember that. What would my radius be here? Polina, what do you think the radius would be? 4. Yep, because 16 is equal to r squared, and then we would need to take a square root of it. So my radius is 4. How do I find -1, 2 on my graph? Luke?
No, -1 is the horizontal line, and 2 is the vertical line. So you go
Okay.
1 over to the left
Good.
and 2 up.
That's right. Yep, this would be 1 to the left and 2 up. And then how do I make a circle from that? Ben?
You would go 4 to each side.
Yep, 4 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot. And 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot. Do the best you can to draw your circle. Again, if I can see that your dots are in the right spot, I'm not going to get too worried about how perfect your circle is. All right, let's go back up to this other 16 then, because there's something a little tricky about this one. Let's do the same thing. Let's find the center. Let's find the radius. What would my center be here? Good, good. Yeah, there's no number with the x and there's no number with the y. The no number is really like a 0. Okay, I can think of it as like x minus 0, but that's really still just x. So my center is 0, 0, which means it's going to start right in the middle. What's my radius going to be? 4. Yep. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a dot at 0, 0, and then go 4 in every direction. I'm going to fill up the whole graph. Does that make sense? How you feeling on those? Pretty good? Okay. I'm going to stop this and start a new video.